everyone, and welcome to this brand new episode of the Hot Mic here, coming to you live on this Thursday from the West Coast here. I am the Outlaw John Rocha, joined as always by the insider himself, the Sneider, Jeff Sneider. How are you, Jeff?
Hello, Johnny boy!
I'm reminded of a great line in Jerry Maguire where he says, "That's how you become great, man. You put your balls out there." And it seems like you just put your balls out there with one of your big scoops. For those of you who don't know, we're going to break a massive, massive scoop here to start the show. Jeff just tweeted it out. If you subscribe to his newsletter, it is right now in your inboxes to read this story. We're going to talk about it in just a second. Just want to remind you all, this is a show supported by you Streamlabs and Superchats. If you love the information we give you, if you love the scoops that are breaking here on the show, if you support what we do here, send in your Streamlabs and Superchats. See a few of them already. You see the Streamlabs address right above Jeff's head. Also, remember to subscribe to Jeff's newsletter, theinsnider.com, so you get these things right off the bat and have a little more knowledge than other people who are roaming around trying to find information about what's going on in the world of entertainment. And please subscribe to the channel down below as well. All right, Jeff, enough precursor. Shall we just jump in, or do you want to touch base? What do you want to do here?
Let's jump the fuck in, baby.
All right, let's do this thing. Jeff Sneider, do you want to break your own scoop, or do you want me to read your thing?
Yes, about 30, 40 minutes ago, maybe an hour at this point, because we're late starting here.
Yes.
I got a tip.
Okay.
It came from one of my oldest, best sources.
Oof. Okay.
And they said, I won't get into the specific language, but they basically said that Sadie Sink was in line to be Jean Grey.
Wow. Sadie Sink from Stranger Things fame will be, you're saying, in line to be Jean Grey, one of the first people cast possibly for this new X-Men that's coming from the MCU. How did this come about? How confident are you? Does this make sense to you? Does this seem like a good choice to start and launch this X-Men universe with a casting like her?
I mean, I think it makes sense with her being in Stranger Things wrapping up.
Yes.
Next year, like her schedule is pretty free after that. Those kids are going to be red hot, and Marvel, as we all know, chases heat, right? Yes. I think that she's a talented actress and someone who Marvel probably is down to be committed to for the long term. And also she's been, largely confined to Netflix. She was in The Whale, but if you're her, I think you want to try to establish a presence on the big screen, right?
Yes.
So like when I heard it, I was like, well, who cast her? Because, there's no director on X-Men yet.
Right.
But I think that the Russo brothers are casting, they're casting Doomsday and probably Secret Wars. I mean, I think that those movies are being shot back to back. No, are they not?
Yeah.
I would assume so.
Right.
Given the difficulty of scheduling and everything. So it's like they're probably casting for just the Avengers finale, and it wouldn't shock me if some members of the X-Men were in Secret Wars or in one of the two movies for sure. Probably Secret Wars, I would imagine. And they're also like, the Russo brothers are trusted. They're part of the Marvel brain trust, if you will. They said when they returned to Marvel, they were going to sort of take on a larger role. So I'm not saying that they're directing the X-Men movie or anything like that, but I could see them, having a say in who's playing some of the bigger characters, among the X-Men.
Right. And this is a hell of a choice for Sadie Sink. I mean, this is a leveling up, honestly. And a lot of people have been a fan of her work, not just acting wise, but also, she's got songs, she does music. She's been in the business for quite some time, but to lead a franchise, you want someone who you really trust in terms of talent, who's been in the business for a bit, a lot of strength to her performances, to her acting, as you mentioned, The Whale, Stranger Things, numerous other projects. She is in this position now, as you said, chasing the heat, where her coming into this Jean Grey role is a very powerful next move for her in her career. And they want to start young or around the younger age so they can have them for multiple movies. Sadie Sink seems like a name that's already well known by millions of followers of hers, and of course millions of people who watch her stuff, to lead this Jean Grey, to be a person that will be the face of one of the faces of the MCU's X-Men. So I think it's a great choice. I absolutely love this choice for Marvel and for Sadie Sink. You know?
Yeah, I don't know what people are in the chat are saying. There's already a photo, or there's already like, what do you mean, like an illustration kind of thing? You mean, or?
Well, I put up one. People have certainly been making AI photos, and people have been making pictures. They've been putting up pictures of this possibility, but no, this is.
She's a popular fan choice. I just want to make sure it's like that movie isn't shooting yet. It's not like there's like set photos leaking out.
No, nothing like that. It's more a matter like people are excited at the possibility, like you said, fan choices.
Alan saying we showed the photo. Yes. Knock it up.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm putting that now. I'm changing the thumbnail as we speak so that it highlights that as well. So yeah, this is the situation here. So how quickly do you think now? Because I mean, me and you have talked about the MCU's casting of the X-Men, and you felt that it was on the horizon. Is this now the beginning? Are we going to start to see more of these names come tumbling out? Or is this just one of those ones that you were able to grab through sources, and it might be a bit before we hear of another name?
Yeah, I don't know. You know, it may be like the Beatles thing where it took 6 months to get confirmed. And, Jeff and John Shipper here says the Russos aren't shooting the Avengers back to back. They're taking a 6-month pause. That I hadn't heard. That's why I asked. I was like, I hadn't heard that they were doing back to back, although it would make sense, but I guess they aren't. Yeah, she skews young. The question is, do I think that we're going to get a lot more X-Men casting?
Yes, that's what I'm asking. Do you think we'll start to hear more breaking news?
It depends how many X-Men are in Secret Wars, right? Is it the whole team? Is it just members? Is it like, a couple X-Men show up at the end and then it's like, hey, we're off to the races with X-Men, which, by the way, I think they're trying to have ready for, right after Avengers, for like maybe even late 2027. Yeah,
that's a great point. Just to clarify what the Russo brothers said here in an interview, they said, asked about the break here between the two Avengers movies. It'll be similar, but we'll have a larger break in between the two movies than we did. I think it was 4 weeks between Infinity War and Endgame. But no, these are not as separate as you would normally separate two films of this scale, but they're more substantially separated than Infinity War and Endgame by a year or so. So they are right in the middle of doing this. So clearly there's going to be a little bit of a break. May not be 6 months, maybe less than 6 months. I think it all depends on the situation and how people respond and in what they're creating and leading up to that Avengers film. So we will see how long it takes. But this is an interesting point. Do you think they will debut the X-Men? Like, will they have this X-Men cast and debuting in the final Avengers film from this phase?
I mean, I think so. Yeah. I think that's the opportunity to sort of have everybody in one thing and, bridge the sort of that chapter of the MCU, right?
Yeah.
With the new chapter.
Right.
And I guess the Fantastic Four are already doing that to some extent, but I think this is good. And I think that, again, you look at who studios are building around. They're building around the next generation, right? It's Austin Butler is American Psycho, and Tom Holland this, and Timothée Chalamet that. Sadie Sink is part of that group, quite frankly. Maybe not quite on their level yet, but I think that this is a wise investment, should it in fact be her. I mean, unfortunately, if you read my newsletter this week, it's not like I could go to Marvel to ask them about this. And I used to have that kind of relationship with them. And at this point, I just don't care. I just don't care about being, if this is wildly wrong, and this is something they would have said, listen, I wouldn't go with this if I were you. Well, now you don't have the chance to do that because, it's just been crazy dealing with them. So.
Yeah, I read your newsletter. Of course, I'm a subscriber, and what you said about it and what you went through in the whole process. I mean, but as your friend, also, I've seen you backtrack on this. So, how much are you going to be clear that this is the new path forward, and how much are you going to backtrack, or is it going to be situational again going forward?
I mean, I think I almost just let the toothpaste out of the tube in a way.
Like the behind the scenes stuff you were talking.
Yeah, it's just like. I'm just not gonna take it anymore, and I'll call people out by name. I don't care, It's like this is, I gotta eat, I gotta feed myself, and these people all make so much money, and I realize I'm like nothing to them. But if I'm nothing, then I guess they won't care.
That's a fair point. And all right, anything more you want to say on this? I mean, I think there's do you anticipate? How can I say this? So you like this as a choice?
Yes.
You like the age demographic.
Makes sense for both of them. It makes sense for her. It makes sense for them.
Yeah.
What were you saying about age?
Yeah. Do you anticipate that this is going to be the age range they're looking at for all of these characters as they're going forward? Is this feel like this is where you anticipate they'll be looking at actors around this kind of age as Sadie Sinks?
I mean, I assume because you want them to grow for the next 10 years, right? So you want to get people in there, the sweet spot, which is early to mid 20s. So that, 10 years later, they're in their early to mid 30s,
Right. She's 22 right now, Sadie Sinks. So seems like the perfect time to take a role on like this.
Yeah, I think so. But at the same time, I do hope that they stagger it a bit. Like, it doesn't make sense to me that all of a sudden, like, hey, our 10 main characters are all 27. All these people, like, were born at the same time and got their powers the same way at the same point. Like, I don't know. I would like to see an old member of the group or whatever who's just like, I've seen a lot of iterations of X-Men. I don't know.
Yeah, that could be Beast probably if you were going to go that route. I could see that happening on the Beast side of things. So what do you? I got to ask this. Do you think there was a director involved here? You mentioned in your newsletter that the Russos might have had some input on this, but do you think there is another director that is going to be revealed?
No.
Soon who's involved?
Eventually, there will be a director that is revealed, but no, as of right now, I'm told there's no director on X-Men.
Wow. So they just independently might have chosen Sadie Sink for this role, but and whoever comes on is going to have to accept that she is Jean Grey. If she's
the first time, that a director has inherited an actor for
true.
A role, you know what I mean?
Very true.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. Anything more you want to say on this one? Should we maybe hit some? People have questions. Maybe we should hit some of those questions. We normally wait till the end, but maybe we should hit them now to kind of take advantage of what people are thinking about this possibility. Good with you?
Sure.
All right. Nick Vaughn says, I love the idea of Sadie as Jean. I imagine we might get the core 3 of X-Men cast sooner rather than later with Cyclops, Jean, and Storm. If that's the core they're going with, right? I mean, have we solidified that that's the core?
I mean, I have no idea. I mean, I would have assumed that they'd introduce like a new Wolverine. I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. That's what I was thinking too, is it didn't seem like they would necessarily go that route. So interesting stuff for sure. All right. So we will see how that plays itself out as we look at this. Mike Joyce says good casting, but I don't like the idea of the Russos having a say in the MCU post-Avengers movies they're directing. Their non-MCU projects aren't good. Yeah, but I don't know, Jeff. How much can you keep holding on to that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't think you're really looking at that stuff as like,
yeah.
I mean, like they weren't well cast. Like okay, Cherry wasn't good. Was it? Was it miscast? I just and I'm not saying that the Russos do have a say. Maybe this was just Kevin's say.
Yeah.
But like X-Men was one of Nate Moore's projects, and he just left this week.
Right.
Maybe I don't know if this decision. That's the thing. I don't know if this decision has been made or if it's something that it looks like that's the decision we're going to be making.
Right. But your source is telling you that this seems like a sure bet.
The favorite.
Yeah. Was there anyone else mentioned that might be in contention here, or was only
Tom Holland? Let's keep in mind, right? So
right.
Let's give him credit. Have I heard of anybody else in contention? No, I haven't.
Okay.
I mean, someone was saying in the chat that Rachel Zegler had been mentioned, but like, if I'm a studio, I'm not really investing in her over Sadie Sink, and plus she doesn't have the right look, really.
Yeah, and the same studio that is dealing with the fallout of the Snow White stuff, right? It's still Disney all around with this, with Marvel and Snow White. So I don't know how curious you'd or how much you'd want to jump into it.
Invite all that into this.
Exactly. Stephen Turner, I wouldn't be mad at Sadie Sink right now. I think she looks a bit young. I want it a bit older, but who knows how long before X-Men even films? Could be 5 years. That's a great point, Jeff. It could be a bit before.
Back to Stephen Turner. Stephen Turner, you could play Jean Grey. Damn, look at that hair. I'm jealous. I say that out of jealousy.
Yeah. But look at that thing. Look at that. Those long locks. I respect it. But yeah, that's a great point. It might be 3 or 4 years before we even start shooting X-Men, and they'll be in their mid-20s by that point.
No, I'm not saying it's 3 or 4. I think it's going to be. I mean, we're days away from 2025. I think we're like talking about 2.5 years away.
Wow.
X-Men.
Right. So you think they'll start shooting next year, possibly?
I think they could start shooting at the top of 2026 for a late 2027 release.
Wow.
I think that's a possibility.
Okay. All right.
If the Avengers movies are shooting next year, I think X-Men is what they shoot in 2026.
Oh, right on. Yeah. All right. I love this idea. I think Sadie Sink's a great choice. Anything more you want to add to this story? Anything more you want to make sure we hit on with this story that I didn't ask you about? Because sometimes you're like, you got to ask me the right questions. I'm still dealing with I'm still processing the story. So is there anything else?
Dude, I heard about this like an hour ago.
But you like it at the end of the day. This seems to make sense all around.
It instantly passed the smell test. And again, given the source where it's coming from, yeah, I felt good running it. I had no qualms about it. Let's put it that way.
Well, these are the things you can get breaking if you go to Jeff's newsletter, theinsnider.com, or you've subscribed to the station, to the channel down below. When we do the hot mic, he broke this on his newsletter, on Twitter, and then boom, jumped onto the show to talk about it here. So these are the things you get sometimes on the hot mic, but definitely on Jeff's newsletter. So you want to subscribe there at theinsnider.com. All right. Shall we move on?
No, I guess we just got on the air. So no.
Yeah, we're only 15 minutes into the show. That's what I was trying to ask you.
Great time. I'm already ready for a break. Just got here.
That's because you've been working on this story for the last hour. So, all right, let's hit this conversation, Jeff. I imagine this won't be too long. I don't know what your feelings are about this. The first teaser trailer for Superman dropped today. We got to see David Corn's sweat getting beat up at the beginning of the trailer, getting saved by his dog Crypto. We got to see Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. We got to see Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner. We got to see Hawkgirl with Isabella Merced there in full costume. We got a kaiju in the middle of this thing for some unknown reason. Anthony Carrigan of Barry fame as Metamorpho. We got Superman crying over a robot, possibly at the Forges of Solitude. We got Mr. Terrific in this. We got Lois Lane and Clark having a wonderful moment in the middle of the air as well. We got Luthor Core in this as well. So much throughout this, and Mr. Terrific as well, and the possible villain being showcased here, which I'm not going to ruin for anybody who doesn't hang out on the internet. So what did you think of this teaser trailer this morning? There have been some strong reactions, both positive and negative. It seems like the Snyder Bros and the Richard Donner stands have found a commonality in coming after this trailer, but then just as many of that side are liking this trailer as well. What did you think of this one? Did James Gunn nail it?
I mean, I liked it overall. I wasn't like blown away. I didn't get like the chills that I saw some of the geek reactors getting, you know? But yeah, I liked it. I thought it was encouraging. I liked the music a lot.
Yeah.
I did like that, like electric guitar kind of riff. This wasn't what I was expecting though.
Oh, talk about that some more.
And I guess I can delve into a little bit like what I had heard and some of the references that I've been slyly making over the last few weeks and months. I mean, it's all right there in the press day. I'll put it that way. Like if you read between the lines of like what James Gunn is going for.
Yeah.
It's James Gunn everyone believes the world is shit right now.
Right.
Okay.
And we're saying that just as we went to air, the House voted against a new bill. So the government will shut down by 12:01 a.m. on Saturday if they don't vote for a funding bill for this government. So we're saying that right now, Democrats and Republicans came together against a Trump-sponsored resolution. So you're saying the world is shit, the world is crazy. You're absolutely right. It's happening right now. Shit.
And so James Gunn's ethos or whatever is that, no, there's actually a lot of good in the world, and you just need to look for it. And where do you have to look, John?
At Superman and at ourselves.
John, I'm giving it to you. Where do you have to look?
Up. You have to look up. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. And so what I had always heard is that there was like a line, and I guess this is obviously a largely wordless teaser. Yeah. Maybe it'll be in the official trailer or whatever. But it's like, it was all about being nice in this world that makes it almost really hard to be nice.
Yes.
And he's like, and Superman says like that's like the most punk rock thing of all.
Yeah.
Right. That's what it is to be punk rock, is to go against the grain and actually have empathy for other people and things like that. I think that's the message of what James Gunn is getting at here. This is not a Superman who plays one side. He's for everybody, and he wants to unite us all.
Yeah.
This is about division in the country.
Yeah, and we see that, of course, in the trailer when there's crowds around that Stag Industries building, and they're throwing tin cans at Superman from behind. They're hitting him from behind as he's walking into that office. We see Guy Gardner try to use his Green Lantern ring there on Superman, and he's got his back turned towards him. So, yeah, clearly there's going to be division in this film. This is not going to be one of those films that's like 1978 Superman, that it's all just about like, folksy overcoming the odds type of thing. This is going to be a much more grounded Superman in its approach, clearly showcasing what's going on in the world, but asking us to maybe elevate our consciousness to a much more a higher plane of understanding and kindness and caring. And so it's going to be curious. I mean, you have two industries in this film, as shown in the trailer: Stag Industries and Luthor Corps. So are they competing? And one of them is funding the corporate Justice League, which is who Guy Gardner and Hawkgirl and Mr. Terrific and Metamorpho are a part of. So how is that going to work? And then you've got Lois. But, Jeff, some people were complaining that this trailer is kind of stuffed with a lot of people, a lot of characters. And we still didn't see like 5 to 6 to 7 other characters that are supposed to be big parts of the film, including Jimmy Olsen, Perry White, James Gunn's brother as Maxwell Lord Sean Gunn. So there's still more characters to come.
There were plenty of characters in this. Like, it was already a lot. I actually thought it might be a little bit simpler, So yeah, rest assured, all those people are in the movie. Nobody got cut. You'll see them all in a more official trailer. I don't know when that will be. Yeah, I mean, this movie comes out in July. I don't know if they're going to, attach it to some big Warner Brothers movie that's coming out next year, maybe in March, or if they're going to go the Super Bowl route, and which is what I've been saying that they should do all along if they're serious about this.
I think people can hold on for 2 more months for an official trailer to drop during the Super Bowl. I think that makes a lot of sense now, considering the reaction. I think the trailer is up to almost 20 million views or 15 million views, which clearly shows you like there's a genuine interest in this. So 2 months to kind of chew on and consume the teaser and have all these articles come out with speculation, and then boom, you get an official trailer. It makes all the sense in the world. It's the biggest audience there is this side of the World Cup is the Super Bowl, man. So it does make sense.
Yeah.
Well, anything that stood out to you from the trailer that you weren't expecting or that you kind of were pleasantly surprised by?
I like when Crypto is running towards him, right? And the snow is sort of building up. I was like, is there a buffering issue on my phone? Like, is there, what's going on? But looking at it like a second and third time, I kind of liked the way it was done.
Yeah. Well, here's a great question, Jeff. Spoofaman says, do you think they debut it at CinemaCon? Do you think they'd have a screening of it at CinemaCon? No, you don't think so?
Too early.
Too early. Wow. All right.
I would hide it longer. I mean, again, it's a movie full of like spoilers, and some people can't keep their mouths shut. Like Top Gun 2, you can't really spoil. Yeah, right. I mean,
but Flash was spoiled like crazy.
Yeah, I don't think. And this is also July. It's not late June. It's mid-July. I think it's just too early.
Right. Fair point. All right. Anything more on this trailer, or anything more you want to say? Anything more that caught your eye on this one?
I mean, Nick Holt looked good.
Yeah.
Trying to think.
Did you feel the chemistry between Brosnahan and Corn Sweat in the scene they had together?
Too early. No.
Okay. I disagree. I thought it was. I felt it right off the bat.
Right away.
Yeah, right away. Just the looks they were giving each other, especially when he was Clark Kent turning around and looking at her. There was a real, and then her hugging him at the end before he goes out to that final, what seems to be like the final battle. I felt that they did a nice job of establishing their chemistry and their connection. I wanted more with Luthor. I wanted to see more with Luthor and him going at it in some way, but maybe they're just holding off on that until the official trailer and showing us the conflict of the movie, because we don't know who the real villain is. For those of you who are comic book readers, it could be Lex. It could be Stag Industries. It could be what we see at the end, him fighting in this Cleveland Indians or Cleveland Guardians Stadium. We don't know who the actual main villain is. So when will that be revealed as we go along? So I get questions on that end as well. But what about the look of it? A lot of people complaining about the color grading or the the brightness of it. Did you have any issues with the look of the film? I didn't, but I'm wondering if you did.
No, I didn't really have any beef with it. I mean, yeah, it looks a little shiny or whatever, but
Yeah.
I think that's just like the way things look these days.
Yeah.
These movies. I mean, this is a $300 million movie.
Yeah, a lot. And they used a lens from the past, an older lens that hadn't been used to shoot a movie, I think, for quite some time. So interesting decision to do that, to give it an old school feel.
It had a little vintage, I thought. It had that sheen a little bit.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I thought. I think that was certainly that was very much on purpose there. All right, let's take a break now. We're at 26 minutes. Let's let you rest for a few seconds. And on the other side, we'll get into some more stuff that you were dropping in your newsletter this week and tweeting about and what have you. We'll be right back right after this. You know, last week you said you didn't want to take breaks. Now you're good with taking breaks. So we got to figure out.
Oh man, I need to take a break every now and then.
All right, well, let's get into this stuff here, Jeff. A lot of stuff came out for Spider-Man 4 that was attributed to Jeff Sneider and his report on Spider-Man 4, talking about Zendaya having a much more limited role. And, of course, we've talked about this on the show here with her being supposedly doing a Euphoria Season 3, Dune 3, all of that. And then you have new classmates that are going to be part of this Peter Parker world and other things. So tell us about this Spider-Man 4 news. Tell us what you think of it now. What are your thoughts about what we're going to get here?
I mean, really, I'm not sure because while I do think that there could be a role for Sacha Baron Cohen's Mephisto in this, based on the source and who it came from and what their track record was. I don't know if he's the main villain, right? I don't know if this is Spider-Man versus the Devil or I don't know. I mean, the classmates thing makes sense because he's 28 years old, Tom Holland. Like, we're still going to pretend this kid's in high school.
Yeah, right.
I think it's time to go to college and maybe give him a different setting, which would also maybe explain, hey, maybe MJ didn't get into the same college. Maybe they're going to different colleges. Maybe they're only talk on the phone now. And it's a long distance relationship. Yeah, and that's why Zendaya is only coming back for a minor role. What I'm told. Right. I mean, that's because Dune 3 is going to start shooting. Right.
Okay, and
as far as the symbiotes, like, I have no idea. That's just what I heard from somebody I trust.
Right. So the symbiotes, do you think that'll be their version of like the Venom situation, or do you think that this is something they've worked out with Sony to maybe have a little bit of a Venom thing that could be reinstalled into their universe once they start it back up again?
When you're talking about their universe, what do you mean?
I mean, Sony's Marvel universes, because I mean, symbiotes is what Venom is. Venom's a symbiote. So would they be introducing symbiotes that they would be able to move over into the Sony universe and share that universe? Or do you think that's going to be
the way I'm interpreting it is just like, all right, well, we're done making outside Spider-Man stuff, right? That's sort of what the reports were. So we don't really have any use for Venom or the symbiotes anymore. So use them in Spider-Man 4. No?
Yeah. All right.
That's not how you interpreted it, or?
Oh, no, because Deadline followed up and said a few days later that actually what Sony is saying is they're pausing, not stopping, and they're going to, once they get it lined up again, they're going to start back up again. So it doesn't sound like they're going to stop doing these forever. It just sounds like they're pausing, maybe getting a new creative team in line, and then boom, they're going to start all over again doing these Spider-Verse, live-action Spider-Verse films without Spider-Man, or possibly bringing back Andrew Garfield, or even announcing or bringing in a Miles Morales to be part of their universe. So that's what it seems like to me from the most recent stuff I read on Deadline a couple of days ago. So that could be the path. So that's why I'm asking if Marvel's going to use the symbiotes, but Sony might be able to borrow.
Do the symbiotes necessarily mean Venom, or they could be like a whole bunch of other symbiotes.
It could be, yeah, but the Venom is like the one that started that whole concept out in comics. So that's my connective tissue to it. But you're right. It could be any number of symbiotes. Could have nothing to do with Venom completely, because certainly once it was introduced, it was used all over the Marvel universe in different.
I feel like my source would have said if Venom was in the movie, I feel like they would have just said Venom's in the movie.
True.
Like Tom Hardy's going to be in this or whatever. Instead, they said the symbiotes. Again, I don't know what the fuck that means.
Well, the most recent Venom movie, all the creatures that were coming after Venom were essentially symbiotes from his world. So there's many different types of symbiotes, many different types of.
See, I didn't see it. Didn't see it. Wasn't invited. Yeah.
Okay. You also said that Charlie Cox is his Daredevil is going to appear in Spider-Man 4.
I think that's looking like a good bet.
Yeah,
I do. I feel like Daredevil's looking like a good bet. I don't know about Punisher because the person had sort of said, what about Daredevil and Punisher?
Yeah.
And I asked around and someone had said Daredevil, yeah, but I think Punisher may not have worked out. I don't know.
Right. Fair point.
Doesn't mean he's not in it, but if I was going to bet money on it, I'd bet no.
Mephisto is such an interesting choice to bring into the world of the MCU through Spider-Man, because Spider-Man's not really kind of dealing with those kinds of things. That's more of a Doctor Strange thing or a WandaVision thing. So it seems odd that they would go that route with Spider-Man 4, but maybe it's because it's unusual. They think it's a good idea. Do you like the Sacha Baron Cohen thing? Do you like that?
I mean, I like it because I think that is an interesting hook, and Spider-Man 4 needs a new hook.
Right.
Or a different hook at least. But yeah, I don't know, because I don't know what the deal is with Mephisto and Ironheart, right? And is Ironheart coming out this year finally?
You mean 2025?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Honestly, I don't know.
Neither do I. And I just don't know how big a role Mephisto has in that. I mean, I don't even know if they're copping to that yet.
Yeah. I just get concerned when you start introducing too many fantastical characters. You run the risk of just spinning off the axis of the universe of these comic book things. And so I just get concerned when Mephisto comes through and is in multiple things. And honestly, Sacha Baron Cohen, I like him, but do I think he could play Mephisto? I don't know necessarily.
But he is Mephisto, right?
Yeah, that's what you're saying. So I'm saying if he is.
But that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying he already was cast as Mephisto in Ironheart, from what I understand.
Yeah, right. It's good.
Right.
Point.
So it's what are they going to do? Cast someone else as Mephisto?
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense to me. I think that Sacha Baron Cohen, again, that's what I was saying in the report is one of my sources. First of all, they said Sacha may not be able to do it because he's promoting that secret movie that he shot for Universal. No, is there anybody going to follow up on stuff like this?
I don't know. Maybe you should.
Forget me. I don't need to. I just reported it. I already did it. But if you're a trade, or you're a reporter of the trade, and Jeff Sneider's reporting this newsletter, Sacha Baron Cohen has a mystery movie at Universal.
Yeah. I
don't know. Does anybody lob a phone call over there? Does anybody pay attention? Or do they just, ignore me because it's Jeff Snyder? I'm telling you, the trades have a disdain for their own audience. They just cater to. They don't cater to the readers. They cater to the publicists and the executives who feed them. But
yeah.
As far as
we
were talking about Mephisto and
anything more on Spider-Man 4? Anything more on that?
I had a point though with the Mephisto.
Oh, Mephisto. Go ahead. Finish your point. I was Sacha Baron Cohen. Okay.
Well, when you say the fantastical characters, I mean, I don't know. Don't we want to see something a little bit different from the Spider-Man movies?
I guess so. That's what I mean. The devil. I don't know necessarily that's.
So that same source that told me about the Universal movie, they sort of had said, "Ooh, I think that would be a crazy story to adapt, like the One More Day story or whatever." With
yeah. I mean, look, is this what you wanted? I mean, this is in the Spider-Man universe. I mean, this seems very odd on a number of levels. Of course, Sacha can play it. Sacha looks it. Sacha's actually quietly kind of a good actor. I just wonder about bringing Mephisto into the Spider-Man universe, but. maybe because of the success of Agatha all along and WandaVision and people wanting more from that side of the Marvel universe, then we're going to do it. But didn't they want to?
I'm not saying that they are bringing Mephisto in. I'm saying that someone reached out and said that he was in the movie, and the same person told me that Ed Bernero was going to be the Nova showrunner, and that was true, right? Yeah. And so, then what happened on the call happened. I described it all in detail in the newsletter. So I didn't get an answer on whether Mephisto is in the movie. Gotcha. I surveyed a bunch of sources, and like I said, that's what came back. He's in a Universal movie. He may, not be able to do it because he has to promote it. All this other stuff. So we'll see. Okay, we'll see. Speaking of secret movies, I got to ask you about this. A few people reached out to me on DMs, and they've asked me to ask you this question. Do you know? Can you verify? Have you heard that a Goonies 2 has been shot, or is this some kind of a legendary, mythical movie? I'm hearing from a few people that they're hearing from people that that Steven Spielberg secretly shot a sequel to Goonies with all the actors returning that can return, and that it's out there right now and nobody's reporting on it. Have you heard anything, and can you say anything about it? Or do you think it's not true? That sounds like an insane rumor. No, I would not run that. If someone texted me and was like, yo, Goonies 2 is already done and in the can, Spielberg shot it secretly last, I'd be like, what? No, that's a lie. But it's so big that it might be true. It's such an insanely big possible lie that it might be true. So I just wanted to ask you that. I think it's an impossibility that nobody would take a photo, that Corey Feldman wouldn't, post something on his social media. Come on. All right. I just wanted to ask. All right, let's move on to this. Jeff, you also have some good. What? As Jamie just brought up. Yes. It is possible that they did reunite and shoot something, but it was a Super Bowl commercial. Oh, that's very possible. I could see that for sure. Kind of like the E.T. thing, remember, right? Henry Thomas. That was really cool. Or Die Hard with was it Velvet? What's his name? The driver? I forget the driver's name. Showing up with Bruce Willis from Die Hard. They showed it. The Everlast battery commercial. I remember that. Well, so let's stay in the Spider-Man universe. Jeff, you got a little flack for this Beyond the Spider-Verse stuff. Now it's been pushed to 2026. Some directors were announced, and then it was quickly followed up with, well, they've been on the project the whole time. They're not the So would you clarify for us what is going on with Beyond the Spider-Verse? Get us all on the same page. What's the truth? What's the situation? Let's call Chris Miller right now. Let's get Chris Miller on the line. Let's tell us everything that's going on. Let's get Daniel Pemberton. What do you want to say? I want you to tell us the truth. What is going on? I told you the truth. I told you the truth is this movie's a fucking mess. Yeah. It's a fucking shit show behind the scenes. Now, every movie is a shit show behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. This one just a little bit more so than most. Is it because of that article, or was this already happening and that article just showcased what was already happening? And I think it's been happening. I think there's a lot of stuff, creatively behind the scenes, whatever. Yeah. But I just, again, what offended me so much back in September was just the insinuation that everything was hunky-dory and everything was on track when you already missed your release date, right? When you take another, I mean, it's come on. Like, do you take me for a fool? That's really how it felt. So do you take me for a fool? That's the frustrating part of it. Look, I'm not going to defend Jeff when he goes off the deep end on Twitter and social media, as he did, I think, earlier this week. With a couple of all this. I don't know. I don't always defend Jeff on that. But the other side of it is these people who come out, these creatives especially, who come out and get holier than thou about scoopers like Jeff and journalists like Jeff and other people who get their hands on this information, and they try to embarrass them because they're playing to a rabid fan base. I think are assholes for doing that, to be honest with you. Because what you're doing is you're setting a rabid group of people after people who are trying to work their jobs and pay their bills and put food in their mouths while you sit in your high power salary positions or high power creative money making positions with your very expensive houses there in LA. And I think it's unfair what happens there. Now, I'm not defending everything Jeff says or
or does, because I do sometimes think he goes too far. But I also think these creatives who fucking lie and claim that these scoopers are off base or ridicule them and then engage and encourage by these lies, not directly, but indirectly, kind of like someone saying, you know what, we're going to march to the Capitol, indirectly getting their fan bases to go after these journalists or scoopers, I think is very irresponsible, and I get frustrated by that when I see it. And this Beyond the Spider-Verse situation, I think, is a perfect example of that, for sure.
There's a lot of complications and shit, right? Yeah. Everyone's relationship with the media has changed. Back in the 50s, right? Bill Russell used to go out for steaks with sports writers.
Yes, right.
You can't do that anymore. Just like back in the day, I remember my first day at Tracking Board, I ran the story that Steve Carell and Lucas Hedges were going to star in Beautiful Boy together.
Oh, yeah.
That didn't end up happening, did it?
Right, with Chalamet.
It was Chalamet, exactly. And that's because, maybe my source was a day behind or whatever it was. Like, Hedges was being eyed for it, but he decided to go make Ben his back or whatever with his father. And so, Chalamet got the role. So it's half right, half wrong. But so when I posted it, it's like CIA called, I think, and they were like, hey, just so you know, like Lucas didn't end up, it's going to be somebody else besides Lucas. You're right about Steve. But we're not going to, announce that today or put it out right away because we don't want you to get egg on your face either. Like, because we want you to break news eventually and we need people to believe it. So it's like there used to be a thing where you don't embarrass reporters. Now, the idea that Sydney Sweeney report from March was wrong is like so insulting to my intelligence, and that she went on social media and is like, oh, this fucking guy's like, it's just a rumor or whatever. Okay, it may be a rumor, but what you're effectively doing is sticking 7 million people on me and telling them that I'm a liar, which you and I both know, Sydney, and your whole team knows is not the fucking case. So you're right. Like, it's just a disproportional thing. It's a different thing when I say, hey, I'm hearing this, I'm hearing that. Well, Chris Miller, if you want to help, slide into my fucking DMs with your number. And that way, before I go to press, I can call you and I can say, hey, I'm going to say this, this, and this. And you say, this is true, this isn't true. Okay. If you leave things to the communication professional, that's the thing. They pay these people so much money to be communication professionals. The best way to communicate, just have the real professionals, the filmmakers themselves, get on the fucking phone and talk to me like a human being. It doesn't need to be this filtered thing.
Yeah.
That's why stories get fucked up, because it becomes a game of telephone because there's a goddamn gatekeeper in the middle of the conversation.
That's a fair point.
It's like, one day I will explain how everything works and how, if I was a studio, I would just designate an employee or an assistant to be like, hey, you're going to deal with Jeff from now on. You're going to leak him stuff. You're going to be the person who makes Jeff feel safe and comfortable. And because you're a source and you're not corporate communications or a PR, if you say, hey, Jeff, please don't print that, he's going to listen to you because you give him stuff.
Right.
That's what I do. Yes.
The back and forth. It's exchange. That's how it used to be. But now you've got this. Go ahead.
But because the studios don't give me anything, when they ask me to hold, why would I?
Yeah.
This is all I got. What else would he giving me?
Right.
That's the thing. They just don't get it.
Well, this is no different than what you see in politics or tech fields. Like, reporters get their hands on stories. They get their hands on tips and clues, and they go to the source to get verification or not verification. And if they don't respond, then it's their right to run the stuff or hold off on it, whatever they see fit. So these things. So they're trying to give a chance for people to respond. But when you ridicule, then in a way it's almost condescending, punching down, and you're setting millions of people off on a guy or a person, depending on who it is, that doesn't have anywhere near the reach that those people do. So it's super frustrating to see it happen.
Right, exactly. Like, again, how many people are actually reading? I don't want to actually give away the number of people who are reading behind the paywall, but it is not the millions of people or hundreds of thousands of people that Chris Miller and Phil Lord have, following them. By the way, they're the subject of my next newsletter.
Oh, there we go. Nice. There's a tease for sure. I hear you.
I know that I had like a point that I wanted to make. I think it was just that like I spent my entire adult life doing this, right? They gave me this responsibility. And for the most part, I think I used it fairly. And then they just want to take it away. And they're like, go do something else now. And it's like, no. I just spent 20 years getting to this point. Now you just want to like say you're not allowed to break news anymore because you're not at the trades. Fuck that.
Right.
So it just feels like them trying to take their career away from me, and I don't need their permission to have a career.
No, right, exactly. And this is the problem we run into when you've got one corporation in charge of all of these trades. That's a monopoly, man. It is nonsense that Penske Media is in charge of all of these trades. That is a controlled environment where it is difficult to have independent journalism in a controlled environment where everybody is invested on making sure the studios look good, the studios feed them stuff, and they're invested in keeping those jobs because they're making six figures at those jobs. And so there's a self-footing. You're chasing your tail, in essence. You're the dragon eating its tail. That's what essentially what you have here.
Imagine if these were TV stations. Like, would the government have ever allowed someone to amass all the TV stations and buy ABC, CBS, and NBC and effectively control the airwaves? No.
Right. No, right. Exactly. There is Sinclair Broadcasting that owns a lot of local networks. But yes, you're right. The big networks, that's not the case there. Although, they're each owned by massive corporations, they're not each owned by the same massive corporation. And that's where the problem lies, to be honest with you.
And again, it's totally fine that he has a monopoly. That's like business and that's capitalism and all that. But it's like, if you're not going to leave room for the little guy, guess what? The little guy's going to walk into the big guy's building and fucking detonate. Okay. This is what I do. This is what I've done for close to 20 years. And the idea that I'm going to stop because Marvel got a new PR person is insane.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Speaking of Marvel, what are your thoughts on the idea of Haley Atwell coming back? It seemed pretty logical, right? Anything news on that? And Ana de Armas rumored this week that she might be meeting with Marvel for a role. Do those seem like credible to you?
I mean, if Ana de Armas, didn't she do that movie Ghosted with Chris Evans?
Yes.
That's a bad luck charm. I would keep her far away from this.
From Chris Evans, maybe, but yeah, for the other stuff.
I mean, maybe she has some other role somewhere else. I don't know. I'd like to see Ana de Armas as a sexy vampire in Blade. How about that?
Oh, yeah.
If they're still making that movie, who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, Haley Atwell, I mean, that was a Deadline report. It sounds legit. Yeah. Chris Evans back. Makes sense that he'd be with Agent Carter.
Yeah. Anything more on the Clayface movie? Gunn was talking about it a little more. He's saying it's in the DCU. It is not outside of the DCU. So this seems like official now, not through sources. This is him saying it. So it seems like that is what the deal is going to be. Are you surprised by that? Or it makes all the sense in the world.
Sorry, what?
The Clayface. The Clayface is going to be in the world. It's going to be a DCU film. It is not going to be like an Elseworlds or an other type of universe. It's actually going to be in the DCU. And do you buy the rumors? I saw Campy talking about it as well. Do you think Matt Reeves is going to be even more a part of the DC decision-making process, or is he going to be frozen out? Because Campy is saying that it seems like Reeves is going to be a bigger part. I'm not sure if Grace said one way or the other. What do you think? What are you hearing about this? Ooh, what can you say? Oh my God.
I'm trying to think about what to say. I mean,
how to say it?
Yeah, basically. That's why
you ask me all the time. I got to ask you the right questions. I'm trying to.
No, like that. That's why I write, so you can sort your thoughts and see what am I actually saying before I say something and give some fucking soundbite. I mean, I've heard there's definitely something going on between these guys. Now, granted, the delay is because of something else entirely. It's because of a personal thing that I'm not going to get into.
You mean the Batman Part 2?
Yes.
Yes. We've talked about that offline. Yes.
So what am I trying to say here?
What are you trying to say?
Shit. I think that James wants Pattinson in the DCU.
He does. You think that?
I think so. Okay. I think that Reeves is resistant to that.
Ooh, interesting.
And it may be that, okay, if we do that,
Yeah.
I need a certain amount of control about the way that this
Ooh.
character and the other characters that, interact with him,
Right.
behave. So in that sense, like, is he going to take greater control? I think that he has like oversight of Batman, and it doesn't make sense to just have him have his own oversight and do his own thing with Batman, and then have a second Batman in the DCU. It just doesn't make sense. Have the same Batman, and if he still wants to, control it and be a part of it, then I think James has to let him.
Yeah, Matt Reeves was talking this week with Zoe Kravitz on Variety with that Directors on Directors. And he did confirm also that there are ongoing conversations about the Penguin season 2, Jeff. He said, we're talking to showrunner Lauren LaFranc about doing another season. That was a special experience. I just feel really fortunate. These characters don't belong to me. They belong to the world. It comes down to whether you can approach them in a way that expresses something personal. So he might not just be talking about himself. He might be talking about, what James might have to say about this situation, how James is approaching his Batman. And I mean, you look at what we got in that James Gunn Superman trailer. Where do you see Robert Pattinson's Batman fitting into that world? So it could be interesting, right? Maybe Gotham and Metropolis are two completely different things and two completely different takes. But when they come together, how are you going to have them work in each other's universes? That's an interesting question.
Again, I think that, and we wrote a column on this before, that like James Gunn, just like we knew when he was installed as DC head, that he was going to end up doing Superman himself. Even when he was like, no, I'm attached to direct. We don't know who's going to direct this movie. We knew he was going to fucking direct this movie because all these guys have ego.
Right.
I think that James Gunn is still going to want to be the guy who puts Superman and Batman together successfully on the big screen for the first time in a world's finest movie. I could see that being his follow up to Superman, unless he just doesn't, unless he does Superman 2. I mean, totally possible. With Clayface, we're getting a message here. Hold on.
Uh-oh. From who?
Hold on. With Clayface, we have a decent theory. Oh, it's just that. Yeah,
okay.
With Clayface, who would they trust that to? And right, if it's not Gunn himself and it's not going to be Flanagan, which for all I know, it could be either one of them. But like, if it's not one of those two guys, who could it be?
Who just did Nosferatu?
Eggers. Having seen Nosferatu last night, I don't think so.
You're insane. It's in my top 3 of the year. You're insane.
No.
Okay.
Here's an idea.
Okay.
They're really high on, like everybody's high on Zach Kreger, right?
Right, for weapons and what have you. Yes.
Right, exactly.
Barbarian. Right.
But there's the other movie that he produced with Jack Quaid called Companion. Okay. That guy, Drew Hancock, New Line.
Oh.
Right? It's a New Line movie. I could see them giving him a $40 million Clayface movie because they're pretty high on Companion.
Right.
Not saying it's going to be him, just saying wouldn't shock me if they announced that.
Is that the trailer that came out recently where he can't be killed? Oh, no, that's a different one, right?
The Jack Quaid with the woman who puts her hand over the flame and it's the old song.
Right. What's the one I'm thinking of the trailer just came out? Novocaine. That's right. That's a different one. So
the trailer's out for that?
The trailer came out 2 days ago. Yeah, Novocaine.
I gotta watch that.
It looks good. I like the trailer. Yeah, very funny. No, Guillermo del Toro, I think he's, listen, no offense, but
too expensive for a $40 million movie. This is someone this is a young up and coming filmmaker.
You want young.
You want to invest in their future.
Yeah, you want young. Oh, yeah. We should talk. Well, we'll talk about that in a second. That could be an interesting point of it all for sure. But it's interesting. Again, like we said last week, Clayface being a DCU movie before Batman. Like, it's just interesting that you're introducing a Clayface Batman villain movie, but you're not
the bridge.
Yeah, maybe. Do you think in the end he'll go? Do you think it'll be Robert Pattinson in the DCU in the end, or do you think they'll both kind of walk away from it, Reeves and Pattinson from it?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if Pattinson is like if Reeves is like a Nolan where it's like Bale's like, I'm not doing it without Nolan. I don't know if Pattinson is the type who's like, I'm not going to do it without Matt.
Yeah.
I think if they want him to stick around, and because I've heard he wants to stick around, Pattinson, I think he's going to wind up in the DCU. I think it's an inevitability.
So you might move on from Matt Reeves. Interesting. Okay.
I'm not saying that. I just
no, I'm saying it in my head. If he wanted to stay, and Matt Reeves didn't want to necessarily go that route, I'm sure Robert could be like, well, look, I want to keep doing it. So
again, it's when this all started, I think it goes back to that. Like, yeah. I said maybe Reeves is not going to get a chance to do his trilogy. They're going to just say, okay, you can do the second movie that you were planning, but after that, we want Pattinson over here. That's what I think is going to happen. No one guaranteed him 3 movies, and yeah, Gunn came in when after the first film, right?
But he's on the come up, man. I mean, Batman and then Penguin season 1. Like, I know Lauren LaFranc was the showrunner, so she deserves a majority of the credit. But Reeves takes the credit as being executive producer, and it very much is from his world. So if the Batman Part 2 comes out and is great, Penguin season 2 comes out and is great, and let's say Superman comes out and is good but not great, do you want a guy, when you're running the system, who is outshining you, as you said, Hollywood and its egos? I don't think James Gunn would like that situation much, where people are clamoring more for Matt Reeves's universe than your universe, when you have the bigger universe that the stories that you're supposed to be telling in the bigger universe. So I don't know, just throwing it out there. It could be interesting. All right, one more thing before we go to another break here, Jeff. This popped off just as we're talking here. Damien Chazelle is apparently set to direct an Evel Knievel biopic, and Leonardo DiCaprio is in talks to star. This is according to Daniel Richtman. Do you think this could be possible, or does not make sense to you? What's your smell test tell you on this one?
I don't know about this. This feels like, I feel like Leo has always wanted to play Evel Knievel to some extent. And I could see it working, but Chazelle, it just seems like a big project to give him. I feel like he needs to work his way back with something smaller. I thought that prison movie might be the thing. This just feels like too big, coming off of the flop that was Babylon. Like, you flop with Babylon, then you get to work with Leonardo DiCaprio, the biggest movie star on the planet.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe because he does have an Oscar and he's so talented, but something about it, I just feel like it's like a grid listing.
But listen, people need to this. I know people accuse me of ageism all the time, but I'm trying to get things correct here, man. Evel Knievel was in his early 30s when he became famous. DiCaprio is already 50. You know what I'm saying? He does not look 30 anymore. And so unless you're going to de-age and then, shoot him now reflecting back on his time when he became a success in the 1970s. I lived through that. I watched Evel Knievel on the Great Wide World of Sports on ABC trying to jump those cliffs, or those caverns, or valleys rather. So I remember. Kanye West did a great music video, Touch the Sky, that was an homage to that. So the idea that it would be DiCaprio, who will be probably 52, 53 by the time they make this movie, I don't think that makes sense to me. Kind of like the Sinatra stuff. Don't give me Sinatra in his 20s and 30s and you're going to cast DiCaprio. That makes no sense to me. Yeah.
Nobody cares. Nobody knows how old Evel Knievel was when he died. He could have lived to have been an 80-year-old man.
He died when he was 69 years old. People know. What's wrong with you?
He died when he was 69. Then why can't he play him? I don't understand.
No, I'm saying when he was successful, he was in his early 30s. DiCaprio is already 50. It just wouldn't translate. Come on.
Yeah, but it's Leonardo DiCaprio. It's the biggest movie star on the planet and a great actor. So I think that you fudge the age of Evel's success in order to accommodate him. Who would you like to see play him at this point?
You put me on the spot. I don't know who. I'd have to look at that. Actors in their 30s. Let
me see a photo of Evel. I'll do this real quick.
Okay.
Oh, that's easy. You ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Jeremy Allen White.
Possible. Alden Ehrenreich is more possible. Come on. I like that idea.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Aaron Taylor Johnson could be fun too.
No.
All right, let's take a break. On the other side, I want to ask you the James Bond stuff. So we'll be right back. Right after this. All right, we're back. By the way, we got almost 800 of you watching us live. Thank you so much for joining us live here on the Hot Mic. We appreciate it madly. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel down below and hit the bell button so you see when we're dropping the Hot Mic. We drop Thursdays, 4 o'clock. We're live, but every once in a while, depending on timing and scheduling, we move around the week. We don't know yet what our Christmas plans are, so we will let you guys know that as soon as we know. But you can also subscribe to Jeff's newsletter, theinsnider.com, if you want to hear more of his scoops. And look, I have his newsletter. It's great. Every day or every couple of days, I get a little shout out on, no, what did I say? I get a little blast, and I get to read all these bibs and bobs of casting with numerous projects that we don't get to on the show because there's not a lot of time to get to everything that Jeff's talking about. So if you want to be in the know, theinsider.com is the way to go. All right, Jeff, let's jump into this story here. James Bond. You've got some big rumors you want to talk about on this one. Aaron Taylor Johnson was rumored to be kind of like the person in the pole position for playing James Bond here, but after Craven just absolutely cratered at the box office, other names are starting to pop up. What are you hearing? And I think THR did a report on it today and even mentioned Josh O'Connor, which, to be honest with you, a year or two ago, I might have been like, no. But after Challengers and after some of the most recent stuff, I might not be averse to that situation. What do you know about this?
Let's start there with O'Connor, because obviously this was part of THR's predictions list. It wasn't something that we're hearing. It was just like, hey, like I do all the time.
Yeah.
He's already a movie star. They don't really cast movie stars as James Bond.
You think Josh O'Connor is a movie star?
He's en route. I mean, he's going to be the male lead in Spielberg's movie, right? Opposite Emily Blunt.
True.
He's in Knives Out 3.
Okay, yeah.
Challengers. He's done a handful of like acclaimed foreign films already.
Yes.
Just feels like he's already, like, if you're getting like the male lead in the Spielberg movie, I don't think you're playing James Bond.
But you're up against Emily Blunt. Emily Blunt's going to be the lead of that movie. Look, Jeremy Renner was in Arrival.
Supposed to be more of a two-hander. Now, I don't know who the second hand necessarily is, but I'm going to assume that it's Josh O'Connor. Maybe it's Colin Firth. I don't fucking know, but I don't know, man.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know how it's a two-hander with the whole that cast, but
yeah.
I've heard it described as like following two main characters, and I assume Josh is the male lead.
Yeah.
In which case, yeah, I don't see it. First of all, I don't find him that attractive. He's a good-looking guy, and he has like a raw sexual energy, like, in Challengers, but like, kind of has these big ears.
Yes.
I'm just being like, what do you want me to say? Like, women have to want to fuck James Bond. Now,
you're not a woman. How can you speak knowledge about what women want to fuck? You're not a woman.
I'm very in touch with my feminine side. That's what. And I can say Josh O'Connor, while he does have a certain sex appeal, right, and certainly had that in Challengers,
yeah,
that he gives off like a fucking James Bond suave, like ladies man. I don't think that's him.
But don't fucking lie. You didn't see that when Daniel Craig either. You're like this nebbish crybaby little bitch in the Road to Perdition. That's going to be James Bond. No one saw that.
I agree that he's not like, I don't think of him as like a beautiful man. Daniel Craig.
No, he's a rugged man.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, it's just not who I see. It's not who I envisioned as the character. So while I respect it, and it's totally possible, I think that Josh O'Connor, when you look at the stuff he's booking, he's already kind of past Bond, which is to me a thing that you do before you're a full-fledged movie star, and it makes you one.
Well, I mean, Pierce was pretty well known when he became Bond, so But I hear your point. I like the Josh O'Connor. It's out of the box thinking. I would have never thought of Josh O'Connor for Bond, which makes me like it. And it could be a much more intellectual Bond because Josh radiates that. And so an intellectual Bond who uses action when he needs to is a new take, an interesting take for a Bond nowadays, right? So it could be a fascinating course correction or course change from the more rugged, brutal Bond we got in Daniel Craig to this Bond. So I don't know, but I hear you. Is there anyone?
He just reminds me of like Adam Driver-ish a little, like where women can find him sexy, but I think other people would be like, "Oh, that guy's kind of gross."
Wow.
So, just some people, not
Okay.
me. Yeah. What's the name?
Josh O'Connor.
Josh. James Bond is being played by a guy named Josh. Nothing personal.
Listen to you. It sounds personal. You're gonna call him a ghoul next, for God's sakes. Calm down.
That's reserved for Matt Smith, who would be good as Clayface to one of our commenters.
Yeah, someone said that earlier. No, I like the idea. It's
Jamie, stop pushing that actor. I know you're watching this, Jamie. Stop pushing whoever you're pushing right now in text. That's not going to happen. I'm not going to out the actor. Jamie knows how I feel about that guy. It's not going to happen.
I made it clear that it should be James Norton, but I don't think that's going to happen now. All right. So why is
James? I like James. Who I like.
Why is ATJ out? What happened? Was it Craven? Was it other things? Why is ATJ? Why are you saying that ATJ is out?
I think we've seen now audiences aren't interested in him as a name brand movie star.
What if 28 years later comes out and it's a massive hit?
It's about 28 years later. I mean, who are they selling that on? Who are the names that they flashed big in that trailer?
Cillian Murphy.
No, they didn't. It's Danny Boyle and Alex Garland.
Right. Yeah.
So they're not selling it on Aaron's name.
Oh no, because yeah, he's not that name yet. He's not.
And I got to tell you something else. I thought he was bad in Nosferatu.
What?
I thought he was bad.
I don't think anybody was bad in that movie. What?
I thought he was bad.
He's supposed to be unsettled by everything, man.
Yeah.
I like Sarsgaard. Oh, do you want to do a quick review of that one? Did you? So tell me why you didn't like it. I thought Sarsgaard was great.
That's who I had the biggest problem with. I did not care for the design. I did not care for the voice.
Oh,
didn't like it at all. The design looked like Jim Carrey's Dr. Robotnik.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Crossed with his Lemony Snicket, crossed with the character Megamind.
There is nothing Megamind about what he did in that movie. You're insane.
I hated the mustache. Like the voice. Yeah, it was just so like dreary and not.
Yes.
It wasn't fun. There's nothing fun about it.
There's nothing fun about Nosferatu. This is not Dracula.
Not fun. Just. I mean, if you like The Witch, if you're like a big fan of The Witch, you'll love this movie.
Yeah.
But I wasn't a fan of The Witch, and I don't love this like period stuff and like the old timey talking, and it started out scary, and I did like Willem Dafoe. He brought like
that was great,
a jolt of energy. I thought Lily was good.
Yeah,
it was good, but yeah, it just didn't scare me. It didn't do it for me.
I think Lily should be nominated. I thought she was incredible in that film. Incredible in that. And I'm an actor. I know what I'm looking for God's sakes. A friend of mine just texted and said Josh O'Connor is too, quote, little brother vibes to me compared to other Bonds. Ooh, that's it. And this is a woman telling me this. So maybe. All right. All right, fine. You didn't like Nosferatu. That's on you, man. That's a damn good movie.
Granted, I had high expectations for it. It just
okay.
I couldn't really wait to leave last night.
I saw Emilia Perez again yesterday. I like that movie, but I don't know where I find myself moving away from it more every time I watch it now, and so I don't know. It's interesting. Did you get through that? Did you like it? Where's your feelings on that?
It was okay.
Yeah,
I thought
Zoe was great.
I thought Carla was really good. There were some really creative numbers, but there were also some where I was like, "This is embarrassing," and why I hate musicals.
Yeah. especially avant-garde musicals. Those are tough. Those are tough. Did you see anything else before we hit some of these trailers?
The Dylan movie. Did you see the Dylan movie?
Oh, I love the Dylan. Oh yeah, A Complete Unknown. Yes, bro. I'm gonna buy that in 4K. I hope it comes out in a Criterion. Go ahead. Tell me how much you hated it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't hate it. I thought it was good, but I didn't love it. I liked it, but I didn't love it.
Oh, you're insane.
I was shocked by how much singing there was.
There was a lot, and I think that's the best one over Egerton doing Elton. Over anyone else has been like over. I think Rami did a little Freddie, but like he was almost spot on with Dylan. I thought it was a really good interpretation, and I thought Monica Barbaro was fucking great as Joan.
I thought her and Elle were both good, but it's a lot of just like watching Bob Dylan and being like, I'll never get inside the mind of this genius. Like that's just like what the look communicated. Like for Alan, they just stare at him out on the stage and they're either blown away because he's so beautiful or frustrated because he's such an enigma. He was great, but like the title implies, like I don't really feel like I came out knowing that much more about Bob Dylan than I knew going in. He's still a complete unknown. Music wise, I'm more of an Elton John Queen kind of guy than a Bob Dylan guy.
Oh wow!
As great as Timothy did, recreating him and doing the voice and the singing and everything. I didn't feel like there was any tension in this movie until the final 30 minutes, right? When it's all about the going electric or whatever. And I was just stunned by how it really felt like a wall-to-wall, almost concert film. There's probably 30 minutes of talking in this movie. 30 to 40 minutes.
I'm a huge Dylan fan, so I went in to see if he was going to nail it. I thought the way they moved through it, this is an unusual way to do a biopic. It's very floating through his world and life. And I agree with you. I would have liked more tension with him and Joan, with him and I can't remember Elle Fanning's character's name. I would have liked to see more of that relationship. And I would have liked to have seen how he comes up with these songs. How did he write these songs? How did they occur to them? How did he construct them? Like the creative process. I would have liked more of that. That being said, though, I thought what Timothy did was incredible, and I was swept up in what he was doing. I bought everything up until the end when he's having, I'm not going to ruin anything, but with the conversations that he's having with these people who were supporting him. And I thought Edward Norton quietly delivered one of the most unusual performances he's ever delivered.
He was good.
There was no Nortonisms at all. And I've seen Norton's tricks for years, but there was none of that in this portrayal. And I went and watched old footage of Pete Seeger after I watched the movie, and he like nailed it. And so I thought that was really great. And I thought Boyd Holbrook quietly did a good Johnny Cash as well.
He was. I mean, listen, the cast was good. Could you have seen Cumberbatch in that role, the Seeger role?
No, because I don't like his American accent. So no, I don't think I would have. I like Norton better. Norton's more believable.
I could see him as Seeger in like the last half hour, but not when he's like warmer before that. I think Cumberbatch kind of struggles with that.
But I will say, I do like that the film becomes rebellious and like that becomes a pushback. And that's like what you experience in the world sometimes is people want to keep things. They're so precious about things that they don't want someone to come in who is going to outshine them and then push the definition of the thing that they worked so hard to construct. I like that wasn't a huge element of the movie. And that made me like be on board with it even more because I'm all about blowing up constructs and blowing up well-held little worlds that are so afraid to change. Blow that shit up. So,
people try to control them.
Yes, of course. And I love that. I thought Chalamet did really well too. I was surprised. Like this is like next level type thing for him. Like I like Timothy a lot as he's going along.
He was great. And I do think it's the Oscars between him and Adrian Brody, but I still have to go Brody. He's creating a character out of whole cloth, whereas this feels a little bit more like an impression at times. At times.
How dare you? But John, did you clap at the end? Yes, I did. I clapped at the end. And I'm gonna own that thing. I want to watch like multiple times. Anything else you see? Anything else you see?
The only thing I can say, I mean, I'm under embargo, so I can't really weigh in too much about it. But I've been binging. In fact, I made all the way through 9 hours of The Pit this week.
Did you see Shannon McClung? He's in 2 of the episodes. Geek buddy Shannon McClung.
Oh, I saw
one of the helicopter pilots.
Oh, is that what he is? Yeah. Wheeling somebody in.
Yes, that's Shannon. Yes,
I saw the photo. Yes, that's great. Great for him. That'll be a fun show to discuss closer to its release in January.
Right on. Yeah, I'm almost done with the Bad Sisters season 2. We're on the 7th episode, and then the finale drops on Tuesday. Landman going along really well. Enjoying that. And I did not see Mufasa. Did you see Mufasa? I haven't heard good things from people I trust about things like this. So I'm concerned about Mufasa. All right. Is that all the... Oh, yeah. Let's talk about this. This is a scoop you had in your newsletter, brother. You're hearing that Christian Bale might be playing Al Davis, legendary Raiders owner Al Davis, in the John Madden biopic. How sure are you of this? And do you like this casting with Christian Bale as Al? I tell you what, Al Davis would love to be played by a movie star like Christian Bale. I feel like. What do you think about this?
Not 100% sure, but pretty sure. I mean, I'll put it this way: nobody asked for a retraction or correction or any, to take it down after.
Okay.
But none of the trades, confirmed it either. I think that Christian is probably expensive for this kind of movie.
Oh, okay.
But at the same time, I think that he would do his buddy David a favor. That's the thing. I mean, it's like these guys work together all the time.
Yeah.
And I also don't think this is like a terribly taxing role. I think this is going to be. I mean, if this movie really is about the video game and everything, then how much can Al Davis really be in it? I mean, he's just got to be in like the first 30 minutes.
Probably it's not going to be much.
Let's go of Madden, and it's like good luck out there, kid. Whatever the fuck we win here. And then that prompts Madden to go off and create the video game and everything.
Just win, baby.
Yeah, I think it'll be like a Ben Affleck in Air kind of.
Oh,
thing,
I could see that.
Or like maybe he does it for the Oscar nomination and to help David out. And I think it's a fun part. Like these are the kinds of parts that Christian Bale loves to disappear into.
Right.
That's why it made sense, and also the ages. If you look at Al Davis, was that age Bale's age roughly in the late 70s. So yeah, that's why I ran it. And also it came from a good source I don't usually hear from who dropped into the inbox with a little holiday gift. So
that's nice.
Felt inclined to share.
That's nice. All right, let's hit these trailers. Warfare, real quick. What are your thoughts? Did you like it? Were you into it? Did it work for you? Alex Garland and I think Ray Mendoza is the person's name who actually served. He's co-director with Alex Garland. Did you like this trailer? Yes or no?
Loved it. Think this movie is going to be great. Love the young cast. Again, these guys spent weeks together in that house, I think, rehearsing.
Will Poulter.
They really bonded and got to know each other as a unit. I think it's a pretty expensive movie for A24. Yeah. I dig the whole thing, how it's just, largely in one location, and it's just a siege movie.
Yeah. Here are the names, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't watched this trailer: Joseph Quinn, Finn Bennett, Will Poulter, Cosmo Jarvis, Noah Centineo, Kit Connor, Michael Gandolfini, Charles Melton. That's a hell of a melting pot of people.
And the Pharaoh.
And yes, right. Yes. Yes. But yeah, I thought this was an excellent trailer, man. I like where Alex Garland is going nowadays with this and Civil War. I like where he's going. I'm on board. What about this A24 madness? Death of a Unicorn. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Did it work for you? Was it a little too weird? What are your thoughts on this?
I dug it. I thought this was a fun trailer. I mean, granted, it has maybe a bit of that like absurdist Y2K vibe to it, which, I was not a fan of Y2K.
Right.
But this is one that I've had my eye on for a while. I feel like it's been in grids for years and years and years. Finally got made with these two. It's an odd pairing. Ortega and Paul Rudd, but it looked fun. I like the tone.
Most of all, because Rudd, right, exactly, But I like the idea of Tay Leone being a part of this. We see Will Poulter again, and it's clearly going to be a commentary on the pharmaceutical industry, right? The Sacklers and that kind of thing, and what it's like to experiment on animals for medicine and what have you. So yeah, I thought
that line where he's a cancer. That's the biggest one. I think that could work potentially.
Yeah, I hope so. These A24 films, sometimes they have these great, interesting trailers, and you watch the movie like, I didn't quite nail it. So, and last one, Black Bag Man. What are your thoughts on this little Michael Fassbender, Kate Blanchett action under Steven Soderbergh's direction? I thought this was cool and slick as fuck. kind of like Mr. and Mrs. Smith with all the jokes missing. So what did you think of this?
Yeah, these are just two great actors, and I'm back on the Soderbergh train after Presence. So I'm looking forward to this one. This is like exactly what I want to see from all these people.
I got to say, we're enjoying Agency. We have no idea what the fuck is going on in the Agency, but we are loving it so far. We're, 4 or 5 episodes in, and Fassbender is so great.
Yeah, I've seen 3, I think, and I'm not loving it, but I'm sticking with it because, Fassbender, I just find magnetic. Yes. And then 28 years later, did we talk about that one? That broke over the weekend, didn't it?
Oh, did it? Okay, I thought we talked about it last week, but maybe not. Go ahead.
I forget, but again, that Boots poem that I sent you the video. I put it on my TikTok, guys. If you guys want to see me embarrass myself, it is on my TikTok. I couldn't stop listening to it all day yesterday.
Yeah, it's crazy. You did a good interpretation. I told you to put up on social media. I'm glad you did that.
Karate Kids, dude. Karate Kids.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Yeah, this one, Karate Kid Legends. I didn't know you watched this trailer. I didn't know it was even in your wheelhouse. Talk to me. What did you think of this one?
I thought it looked great.
Right?
Yeah, this is a good trailer. Sony's been on a good little run here with some of its trailers recently.
Yeah. I'm very surprised this came out as well as it did. I thought it was going to be one of these cheesy, crowd-pleasing, just this side of CW type movies. But this one has much more of a serious tone, much more weight to it. The idea of him handing off his student to Daniel, that's a big deal. Mr. Han doing that, Jackie Chan, and leading to that tournament. And at the end there, and some of those martial arts are fantastic. This looks leagues different than Cobra Kai, which is made for young adults and teenagers and whatever. This looks like it's actually taking the material seriously, and so I kind of like the angle and direction they're going with on this one as well.
Yeah, I just thought this was a good trailer that conjured something. It plays on your sense of nostalgia, but it also felt modern,
right?
And I just thought it was a great week for Sony as far as trailers go between Karate Kid and 28 Years Later.
Oh yeah, good point. And that is not Cillian Murphy in the trailer. That's a performance artist, so it's not him as a zombie.
Go to Robert's thing. I want to talk about that for a second.
Which one's Robert's thing? Speaking of Fassbender?
Yeah.
This one? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of Fassbender, did you guys watch Kneecap? Thought it was really great. One of my favorites of the year. I have not seen this yet. I know it's about an Irish rap group. Go ahead.
I haven't seen it either, John, because it looks obnoxious. I mean, I saw the trailer. I mean, it's just Irish guys screaming and playing this music that I can't seem to stand. But everyone keeps saying it's really good and charming.
Yeah. I'm confused. Since when do you hate obnoxious stuff as Jeff Sneider? I'm really confused by this. You like being obnoxious. You enjoy obnoxious every once in a while. Why wouldn't you want to see a movie?
No, I don't like obnoxious. I'm down on obnoxious.
What? Jeff, you have been obnoxious yourself. What are you talking about?
That's your opinion, man. Other people think I'm a class act.
Oh, wait, I'm not saying all the time. I'm saying you have been at times obnoxious on purpose.
I can be obnoxious. We all can be, but
Oh no, I know.
Most obnoxious. Nobody does, right? So I don't like obnoxious movies. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm saying I think you should give it a chance. Yeah, a lot of people are saying it's a really good film. That's sweet.
That's the thing. Everyone's loving it. So
yeah. I think it just popped up somewhere streaming. I'm not sure where, but it is streaming somewhere. I know I have it on the app, so I've definitely got to watch it there. All right. Do you want to talk about the viral stuff? Do you want to hit that thing, or you want to leave it alone?
The what stuff?
The Frosty with Denzel. You want to leave that alone? Or you want to talk about it? I mean, we're an hour and 24 minutes into the show. We haven't gotten to the questions yet. So
yeah, I think we can skip it. Okay. What is there to really discuss? Yeah, other than Denzel says he's not really a student of film.
Yeah, people grabbed it and it went viral. And I understand why it went viral. Look, Frosty doesn't always ask the best questions. That's for sure. He's not always great at these interviews. But I was just surprised at how many people were it became a viral thing and it became a touchstone, like a divisiveness. And the thing is, Denzel was just being honest, and Frosty was trying to ask a question to have a Kubrick little conversation, and didn't work out. But I'm not sure why it grabbed the touchstone and people went.
I think it's everybody expects these big movie stars to be huge movie fans, and
right.
And I think Denzel is a student of film, even if he describes himself as not. Right. But I do think for a lot of these people, it's just a job.
Yeah.
like, yeah, they lucked into it one way or the other. They love performing and being on a set and collaborate, but like they also don't want to spend most of their lives sitting in a dark room watching movies. Some of them haven't seen their own movies, right? They've been in classics. They're like, yeah, I've never seen that movie.
Yeah, Orson Welles is famous for never sitting through any of his films, yet considered one of the greatest to ever do it in terms of direction wise or acting wise. And yeah, I agree. And I think but I do think it brought up something really cool, and interesting, which is like, just because you're told these films are classic films, or this director is a classic director, which was usually told by, almost overwhelmingly all white critics since the beginning of the history of film, it doesn't mean that a black creative is going to agree with you. So I like that kind of was an element of this, that Denzel was like, no, I don't really know Kubrick or have seen any of his, like, my movies are different. The things I like, the people that I think are great at what they do are different than someone like Stanley Kubrick. And so I think it's important to, like, once again, like I said, burst or explode these ideas that only these movies are classics or only these movies are great. When you're looking at people of color, when you're looking at their experiences, when you're looking what they gravitate to, it might not be what the overwhelmingly white critics have gravitated to for decades. And so to open that understanding of it all, I think in the end, that was a cool indirect result of it that I thought was nice.
And also, it was like Denzel, right? Like, okay, you're not a Kubrick fan, we get it, but like, you're like, yeah, I'd be the guy robbing the people coming out of the Kubrick movies. Like, it's probably not the best thing to say.
I don't think that's true, by the way. I think he was fucking with him when he said that. I don't think Denzel,
It's like,
Denzel's wanted to be a movie star for a long time. That was the thing about Denzel from the beginning. He wouldn't do certain movies, certain events, because he said since the beginning of his career, a movie star wouldn't do that. And so he knew where he was going, for God's sakes. All right, just want to hit base on it. Let's get into the questions here, Jeff. Do you want to just breeze through them and let's get on out of here? Does that sound good to you?
Do it, dude.
Okay, we got a few of these, so be patient. Yeah, here he goes, already falling asleep. God damn it, old man, stay awake. Spreezy Sports says, hello, Jeff. You mentioned that you thought a Hulk film might be the November 2026 spot. Can you share any other details regarding this? Thank you. Is that true, Jeff? Did you say Hulk film?
Yeah, this is the thing where you guys ask me, what do you think it could be? And I don't know what it is. So I just throw something out, right?
Yeah.
Pick a character out of my head, and I'm like, geez, it's been a while since we've seen the Hulk. Maybe it's a Hulk thing. And then people are like, Hulk movie coming November 26th. I never said, I mean, I have no idea. I have no idea what's coming out on that day. None. That's my update.
Okay. All right. He also asks, any movement regarding the Zelda movie? Do you believe casting has started? He asks about the Zelda movie every week. Is this happening, Jeff?
Anything about the Zelda movie, you'll be the first to know.
Here on the hot mic, you will be the first to know.
Maybe Zelda. Who?
A lot of people care about Zelda, bro.
Let me add. You wouldn't cast Finn Wolfhard, would you?
Hey, look, if he's willing to play a page in Saturday Night and have like 5 to 10 minutes of screen time, I think he might be a fun choice.
It's a Sony thing, right?
Yeah, I'm saying to make
Tony's Ghostbusters movies.
Mm.
He's gonna have the Stranger Things heat. I mean, I think he's
a nice choice. I like that choice.
A weird choice, but yeah.
Jeff, do you think Ray will be the lead in Sean Levy's Star Wars film? Also, do you expect it to film next year? Lastly, BSL is lame. Love you guys. Oh, big screen leaks. Well, we're all allowed to have our opinions on things. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I follow BSL. They follow me. So, what do you think there, Jeff? Will Ray be the lead in Sean Levy's Star Wars film?
Will Ray be the lead?
It's supposed to be a Ray film. That's the rumor.
No. The rumor is that Ray's in the movie.
Okay.
I never said it's a Ray movie necessarily.
I'm not saying your rumor.
Maybe it's about a young cast and she's training them. So she's not the protagonist, but she is like, a major role. Yes, I think that Ray is going to be in the movie. I don't know if she's necessarily the lead.
Gotcha.
If I was Sean Levy, I'd want my own lead, to cast my own lead.
Yeah, might be Blake Lively. Joel Davis says, is Lawrence Kasdan writing the Shareem Obaid? Oh no, the Kasdan writing the Obaid is Sharmeen Obaid Chinoy film? Is he?
Joel, are you just guessing because of how I described the writer of that movie?
I think you are.
I don't know who the writer of that movie is, and I'm not getting the Kasdan vibe necessarily. Yeah, I'm going to say no.
All right.
Yeah,
what's that?
I don't know.
Okay. Galliot Production says those mics are too hot to handle. Yes, always, every week. Connor Easterday, thank you, Galliot. Connor Easterday says thoughts on how 28 years later 2 affects Weapons release date. 28 years later affects Weapons release date. Also, Wuthering Heights getting dated for Valentine's Day 2026. Appreciate you guys.
Both surprising. Wuthering Heights, again, I heard that was going late 2025, and I think it still could. I mean, you're really going to put the Emerald Fennell movie out with Jacob and Margot and not have it up for awards? Right? I mean, it could always be up for awards, that year, the year that it comes out, but if it's a February release, part of me thinks that they could sneak that movie in under the wire for like a Christmas limit thing and then go wide. It is a long time to wait mid-February to go wide, but
I
don't know, like September 5th, I think opened like in late November, maybe they moved it to mid-December and it's going wide in like late January or something.
Yeah. I love September 5. I love September
5. 8 years later too, as far as Weapons, that's because they read my newsletter. They know that Weapons is moving. There's no way you date that movie the same day as Weapons unless you know that Weapons is not going to be coming out that day.
Yeah. What do you think about this? Real quick, this is not a question. Thank you, Wiley says happy holidays, boys. Roki, you're the best. Thank you. What do you think about the intimacy coordinator controversy this week with Mikey Madison? Do you think, because an intimacy coordinator responded to this and said, like, that's great that the 2 lead actors didn't have issues with it. There's a lot of other actors who are in these intimacy scenes who are doing things with strippers and whatever, and that's not handled because there's no intimacy coordinator. There's a lot of people shooting these scenes who might have issues with it, shooting scenes of assault or whatever, and there's no intimacy coordinator for them to be having a conversation with. Do you think there's validity to this?
No.
Really? Okay.
They made movies for 100 years without intimacy coordinators. It'll be fine.
Well, people were abused on those sets.
We'll be okay.
You'll be okay. Maybe some of those people on the sets might not be, and that's what the stories we've heard. So, yeah, I think people should stop. Intimacy coordination should be on every set. Stop fucking around. Stop thinking you're exclusive and you're some kind of artist and you don't need it. Just to fuck off. This is a job. There's a job. You got to do a job. There's an HR. There's a job. So you got to have the intimacy coordinator on set. It's ridiculous. Matt Sinister McCall says, my 28 Days Later Blu-ray worth $125. Thanks for letting me know, Jeff. Watching Jackal and my lunatic self is rooting for Eddie. Any villains that you root for? Is Eddie a villain in the Jackal?
Okay. Yeah, he's the villain.
Okay.
Could say. I mean, Hannibal Lecter.
You rooted for Hannibal Lecter?
Sure.
Okay.
Doesn't want to see Hannibal Lecter catch up with, Anthony Heald there.
Yeah, but he still has to kill poor Charles Napier. Are you okay with that? And hang him up on the fucking prison cell.
He had it coming.
What? Charles was feeding him. I mean, you cheer for Tony Soprano, right? He's a pretty fucking villain. No matter what anybody says, he's a villain, for God's sakes.
Come on, we're all cheering for the fucking xenomorph in those alien movies.
Fair point. That's true. Nick Vaughn says, love the idea of Sadie as Jean. I imagine we might get the core 3 of it. Oh, I already read that one. Sorry about that, guys. Mike Joyce already read that one. What do we got here? Stephen Turner already read that one. And the ill Yankee says, not worried about Sadie's age. She'll be fine by the time shooting starts, and she'll be too hot after Stranger Things season 5 drops. Thanks, Jeff. There you go. Fredtastic says, I like Hugh Jackman as Old Man Logan, then bring Laura into the X-Men. Oh, I would love that. If that's how they did it, X-23 into the X-Men, that would be awesome. I don't think it's going to happen, but I would love it if they did. And she's around the age where it could work if you went with a 22-year-old Sadie Sink, because I think she's 18 or 20 years old now, Daphne Keane. So, yeah. Eddie Alita says, who for Wolverine would have to be similar in age? Yeah, Jeff, if they went that route with Sadie Sink, does it mean Wolverine has to be in his early 20s as well?
I don't know. Does it?
Could. All right. Good answer. You're getting the old man answers now. Come on, man. Nick Vaughn says, big fan of you guys. Have you heard anything about who could be the new Professor X?
That's a genuine answer. Like, I don't know. Does that actually mean that Wolverine has to be the same age as Jean Grey? I don't know because I don't read the comics.
Oh, fair. All right, Nick says, big fan of you guys. Have you heard anything about who could be the new Professor X or Magneto? Jeff, have you heard? Break it now. Who have you got?
I mean, Isn't there a big 2-time Oscar winner that we've heard is coming to the MCU who hasn't been shy about that?
You talking about? Who are you talking about? Marshall? Who are you talking about?
Hasn't someone been talking about being in Black Panther 3?
Denzel? You think Denzel could be Professor X or Magneto? Wow. Maybe Magneto, not Professor X. Maybe Magneto. That could be real interesting, Denzel. My X-Men.
Professor X ain't got shit on me. Denzel's too old.
I mean, not to play Magneto, he's not too old.
Black don't crack, baby. Denzel looks great.
He does look good. He's great in Gladiator, too. Alan Smith, I wish I'd seen the movie Denzel was in, not the movie everyone else was in. Alan Smith, he says, remember James Gunn's movie Super with Rainn Wilson? Yes, and Elliot Page. I think that movie represents America more than the new Superman movie. Do you guys remember that film? Elliot Page got her face blown off. Yeah, it was a pretty brutal film. I remember that one. Yeah. You remember Super, Jeff? Did you see it?
Yes, I like Super. I don't love Super, but I liked it.
Had that wrench. Eric Rivera says, hey, Jeff, last week you said James acts lots of projects he promised. Does that apply to the animation like Blue Beetle specifically? Eric Rivera asking that.
Live action animation. I just heard that and listen, there's how many projects do we know that have been announced or semi thrown out there? And it's like, there's no way these are all being made. So
right.
I eventually assume that we will soon hear which projects are not moving forward.
Yeah. Alan Smithy says, I meant his face. His face got blown off. Damn it. Now I'm canceled. Talking about Elliot Page. Don't dead name. Bad Sinister McCall says, Beth Snyder, David Cornsweat sounds like a corn star. Oh, boy. That wasn't one of your best. Ewok says, in the new American Psycho, who should they cast as Patrick Bateman's colleagues? The roles played by Justin Theroux, Jared Leto, Josh Lucas. Ooh, that's a great question.
The guys who I said should have been cast as Patrick Bateman, but they weren't big enough stars to really ever be in contention. Lewis Pullman.
Okay.
I think he'd be great. I could kind of see it being the Matt Ross. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
And then Corey Michael Smith, who played Jason Saturday Night. I could see him being like a Wall Street type.
Don't you think Will Poulter would be an interesting choice? Will could radiate that.
He could be the Jared Leto, and then Corey Michael Smith could be Josh Lucas, and what's his name? Lewis Pullman could be Matt Ross.
Who's going to play the Willem Dafoe character? Do you bring back Willem Dafoe to play his own character? I'd be down.
I didn't love any of that.
Oh, you didn't love the storyline, you mean?
No, I think that is what kind of prevents American Psycho from being a great movie. There's a lot of that stuff.
Who played the Samantha Morton character? That's a good question. Sadie Sink. Come on.
Yeah, I don't know.
Thomas La Liberte says there's no DCU Wonder Woman news yet because they want to finish Gal's trilogy first. Gadot has said this publicly, and Gunn has hinted post-apocalyptic Elseworld. No, they're not. She's not coming back, and they're not. No fucking way. Especially after that Snow White bombs. There's no way they're bringing her back for a war.
There's not a chance. She's done.
It's over. Now and Again Productions says, are you surprised that Legendary pushed hard to acquire the Homewreckers project with GP? I associate them with more franchise/IP stuff recently. Jeff?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a good acquisition. I mean, I'm skeptical of all this AI stuff. If you just told me, Homewreckers, erotic thriller, Glenn Powell, I'm more excited than Homewreckers, erotic thriller with an AI twist. With Glenn Powell. I just don't need every project to have AI in it. But I think this is a smart play. Again, you're getting a Glenn Powell movie. You don't have to break the bank. This is probably something you can do on the cheap for between 30 and 60 million.
Yeah, good point.
And you could still reap big rewards from it. So
yeah, good point. Tristan says, could the untitled Marvel movie to film in fall of 2025 be a Scarlet Witch film? Production Weekly said Jacques Schaefer and Megan McDonald are writing it.
I don't know. I don't really think it.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
A Scarlet Witch movie. No, that seems like a recipe for a loser. But
I'd be surprised.
Yeah.
After the mess with directors like Julius Ona, Nia DaCosta, etc., has Marvel done hiring inexperienced directors, a more established director for Blade? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Like this, you can't put everything on Nia DaCosta or on Julius Ona. I mean, like there was a lot of shit that went on behind the scenes with the studios as well. I mean, the executives don't get to get off scot-free while the directors take all the hit. That's bullshit, in my opinion.
I don't think that Marvel's done hiring inexperienced directors because it likes to boss around directors, right? You're not going to start bringing in Scorsese. That was a pun. That was a joke.
I have an idea for the Hulk.
It's not like those two forgot how to direct,
right.
like tonight. It is the scripts. It is like, they're being handed unfinished scripts, basically.
Yeah.
To get moving. Which
is what James Gunn kind of took a shot at.
Right.
He said, we're not going to shoot anything that doesn't have a finished script.
Took a shot at the system.
Right. Exactly.
And I know Mr. Orion says Nia DaCosta is going to be okay. She got the 28 Years Later sequel. Again, mid-January release date for that. Yeah. Makes me a little nervous.
Right. Yeah, and I love how you picked the two black directors. Like, that cracks me up.
Yes.
DUI Champ says, Brother Rocha, I'm addicted to Landman Yellowstone. As well, not Yellowstone, but certainly Landman. But isn't it strange how many Sheridan loyalists bitch about heavy messaging in many IPs today, but accept the heavy messaging in Sheridan shows? Well, let me clarify that, because I know a lot of people have been coming after Sheridan shows and about the women written in these shows. If you're not watching these shows, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Because I think what I like about these shows is that Taylor Sheridan plays the middle. He goes after the right and the left. The problem is people see rugged dudes who are military guys or rough talking dudes, and they immediately go, MAGA, red way. It's not true. He goes after both, especially in Lioness. He goes after both sides, the American desire to be in control, foreign policy of everything, but also the damage it does to soldiers and how we mistreat our soldiers. So he's very much walking the middle here. And with some of the characters in Landman, those women are dealing with the trauma of loss, and that's why they're acting out in a couple of them. The other woman in the show is a fucking well-accomplished attorney who takes no shit off anybody. So I think people aren't watching these shows, and so they're opining on them, and they have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. So,
that could certainly be the case. That sounds very true. People talk without knowing what they're talking about.
Yeah, but I'm not excusing Taylor Sheridan having Bella Hadid as his girlfriend, which I thought was supremely stupid on Yellowstone. So, don't think I'm kissing Taylor's ass all the time. DIU Champ says, do you detect the beginnings of a loud online bro backlash against Gunn's Superman? I don't know if I saw that, because I saw both Christopher Reeve people and Zack Snyder people coming after this trailer today. So I think it's not necessarily a bro backlash.
Yeah, everyone has their idea of what Superman is in their head, and right, it's like, oh, this isn't what I wanted, this isn't what I expected.
Yeah,
you're still gonna buy a fucking ticket. Shut the fuck up.
Fair point. Tristan says, also, sorry, how do you think Marvel will try and entice audiences while competing against Gunn's quote creative and filmmaker driven DCU?
How are we going to compete with this creative and filmmaker driven DCU
that we haven't seen a movie from, by the way?
I think it'll compete with them by having characters like fucking Wolverine and X-Men and Fantastic Four. I think it'll be just fine. Yeah, Marvel's going to be just fine. Like, and this idea, this illusion that they're competing with DC. I mean, come on. It's like the Yankees competing with the Red Sox. Hey, thanks for finally winning a couple of World Series. We have 27 of them. Give me a fucking break. Now and Again Production says, regarding Homewreckers, thoughts about a co-lead? Robbie and J-Law are near Powell's age, but I'll throw out Zazie Beetz and Vanessa Kirby as ideas. Jeff? Don't really know enough about the script or anything. So we need to want to wager a guess. I like your choices, though. They're different and unusual, and they are counter to Margot Robbie and Jennifer Lawrence. So it's good stuff. Lemmy Ward says, Merry Christmas, guys. Merry Christmas to you, Lemmy. If WB does, in fact, get broken up and sold, who do you think would buy the studio and the TV assets? If WB doesn't... Oh, so said it again. What do you think? I'm not reading them for my health, right? Like, I'm reading them so that we can both answer them, for fuck's sake. Well, this is a complicated question. I need to fucking read it a second time, John. It's complicated. If you're not looking at your fucking phone, it's not complicated, goddamn. I haven't been looking at the phone during this question. Jamie, stop texting him, you son of a bitch. I'm looking at fucking directions for my dinner. Who do I think would buy the studio and the TV? I don't fucking know. Fuck.
Don't get mad at Levy. He donated. What do you think?
I mean, shit, that's a big question to put me on the spot for. I don't know. It does, in fact, get broken up and sold. Who do you think they would buy the studio?
Maybe Universal. I mean, Apple has been in, hunting for that Disney situation. It could be interesting if they took.
Why would WB get broken up and sold? I mean, I could see. Let me ask you this: could you see Warner Brothers buying Fox News if it gets rid of CNN?
Ooh.
Would Murdoch sell Fox News to Zaslav?
I think he would. Yeah, possible. Kandeep Singh says, Caleb Turner or Paul Mescal for Bond? Neither. Jeff?
Yeah. Neither.
Okay. Hey, Matt Simmons to call says, Beth Sneider, RFK Jr. cast for James Bond. Yeah, right. Jim One says, Theo James, perfect for Bond. Height, voice, looks. Theo James? You've been saying that, haven't you?
Yes.
You like him? Yeah.
Do.
That's a Jeff choice for sure. This Philip Bryan says, hey, what's up, Philip? He says, if you discussed Elsewhere and I missed it, I'm sorry. Have either of you seen the new Count of Monte Cristo film? # my favorite book. I have not. There's a new one? Did you see it?
Yeah, I didn't see it. It was produced, overseas.
Oh. Did you see it or not see it?
I did not see it.
Okay. I suppose I should take a look at this one. I like that Guy Pearce one with Caviezel. Wayne Edwards. What's up, Wayne? Thank you very much. He says, good evening, gents. Last week I said I was losing interest in James Gunn's DCU. However, after seeing the Superman teaser trailer, I'm completely on board besides a few quibbles. I'm excited. That's what they wanted.
Woo!
There you go. Yeah. Thank you, Wayne. I agree. I'm with you, brother. I'm very excited
for your generous donation.
I was on the fence as well, Wayne, and I'm on board again. Robert Gianquita says, speaking of Fassbender, did you guys watch Kneecap? Thought it was really great. One of my favorites. We answered that one already. Ross _ Alhim says, have you guys watched Carry On? I quite liked it. Jeff talked me out of watching it. Now I'm going to watch it because it's getting all these kinds of positive reviews. So don't always listen to Jeff Snyder is what I'm saying when it comes to reviews. Did you like it? Did you watch it again? No?
No, I haven't seen it again. I'd be down to see it again, but I was disappointed by it.
Okay. Brian O'Neill says, two supporting performances I think are being terribly overlooked are Tucci in Conclave and Emily Watson in Small Things Like These. Do either of you agree?
You didn't see Small Things Like These, did you?
I did not. But with Tucci, I think more Lithgow is the show where you roll, right? For support?
No. As soon as I saw the movie, because I was like watching it thinking, oh, is it Tucci? Is it Lithgow? Is it somebody else? When I got out of that movie, it was nobody.
Wow.
It was Rossellini and obviously Ray Fiennes, but no one really stood out on the supporting side for me. I don't think Tucci is being overlooked. I think he deserves to be on the outside looking in.
I agree. Jay Barrett Mash says, love the Karate Kid trailer. Do you guys watch Cobra Kai? And if so, what do you think of this last season so far, especially that last brawl? I haven't watched it. I haven't caught up. To be honest with you, they all should be in fucking jail for assault and battery, so I have a tough time watching that show. But I should finish now. Like, I watched the first 5 seasons, but this last season.
In jail for assault and battery.
All of them. They're fighting all over the valley. I mean, like in public places, in high schools, like they should all be in jail, for God's sakes, if it was a real show.
I don't watch Cobra Kai. Sorry.
Yeah. Adam Jimenez. Thank you, Adam. Says, happy holidays, guys. Was just able to see The Apprentice, and I loved it. Do you think the film will be embraced for awards because people in the States don't want to give awards to a movie about, or won't be? Do you think the film won't be embraced for awards because people in the States don't want to give awards to a movie about Trump? Yes. Jeff?
Yeah, I think it's facing an uphill battle, even though it's probably going to wind up being my #1 movie of the year.
Wow. Nice. Okay.
You get those two guys do incredible work in it. But I think that you're right, Adam. The Oscars have become politicized. It's not about the best work anymore. It's about the best message. Yeah. And that's why this whole industry is in the shitter.
There you go. All right. 5 more of these, Jeff, and then we're out of here. Anonymous Oscar fan says, I'm here to validate Jeff's Nickel Boys review. My girlfriend and I caught it at FYC screening. We both thought it was too slow and too pretentious. Here had a more effective camera gimmick and emotional catharsis. Have either of you seen Better Man? The second half is a little conventional, but the first half has some of the best directed musical numbers I've ever seen. Jeff, your thoughts on these points?
I've heard Better Man's great. I just RSVP'd to a screening shortly after the new year. So I am going to catch up with that one based on everything that I've heard.
Yeah.
What else was it? What?
Nickel Boy's review. He's validated. It said Here was a better film than.
I don't see how anybody watches that movie and is like, this was good.
Doug Developer, what's up, Doug? He says, hey, guys, I'm sad this even needs to be asked, but given Bezos owning Amazon and the fact that The Boys is crystal clear in whom they are referencing, criticizing, what percentage do you give the final season to actually happen? Well, they're already talking about it, right? Like, what's-his-face has come out, Anthony Starr, and said that they are, its season's going to blow the doors off everything. So it's already going to go down. Don't get it twisted. These guys want to make money, and they'll play to liberals and they'll play to conservatives. Whatever's going to put money in their pocket, so they'll play both sides if they have to, right? What do you think of this, Jeff? Do you think it'll be canceled?
What are we talking about?
Oh my God, The Boys, the final season of The Boys.
I think the final season of The Boys will be canceled
because they're going after Trump. Do you think Bezos will step in and try to stop them or try to censor it? You know what I'm saying? Because it's going to be on Prime.
No.
Okay. Mike from Montreal says, what happened to the Sports Reporters podcast? And I have the choice between Baby Girl, Nosferatu, and The Brutalist on December 26th. Which should I choose? Baby Girl, Nosferatu, or The Brutalist? Which one should he go to?
Not Nosferatu. The other two are really good.
They're all so different.
Yeah, they're very different.
Whatever fucking mood you're in that fits, that's the one you should go to. Matt Thomas is, as a native Clevelander, seeing my city on display in the trailer for Superman was awesome, but this Hawk Girl shot is what got to me because the actress Isabella Merced is from Cleveland, and they had her flying by one of the city's most iconic buildings as her introduction. That's cool. So much of my city in the trailer, love the respect that Cleveland is getting because it is actually Metropolis, and more people need to learn that. Siegel and Schuster deserve their respect. Jeff, anything to say on that?
Go Cleveland. Cleveland rocks.
There you go. And one final one. Mark says, any info on the Glenn Powell AI movie? Could he shoot it? Could he shoot this after the JJ movie?
Could he shoot the AI movie after the JJ movie?
Yeah.
I assume that's what Legendary is counting on.
I think
but
so.
I don't know what his schedule is. He could have 8 zillion movies packed in there. Who knows?
There you go. Kyle Fielder says, Jeff, did you see the Google Doc I sent you listing your 2024 scoops? You're at 95 now, so 5 more and you'll be at 100 for the year.
Thank you, Kyle. No, I actually didn't see that, but I will check my emails and messages to see if it just fell through the cracks. Sorry about that. Super kind of you and thoughtful.
There you go.
Very helpful.
Miguel Zion says, over under 35% the DC will have 4 films in 2026. Batman, Supergirl, Sergeant Rock, Clayface, Elseworlds. Thanks. Then 2 series, Lanterns and Booster Gold. Yeah, that's a lot.
I mean, again, I think Batman get the boot.
Yeah.
That'll go to March 2027.
I don't know about that Sergeant Rock film, man.
I've heard it's going next fall.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's a lot for DC in 1 year, but we'll see. We'll see. I would say under 35% that it happens as you've laid it out. What do you think? Is fair? Right. Last one. Peter says, sup guys, funny question, but did you guys see that story about Ariana Grande's boyfriend's ex-wife? Any chance something like this affects her Oscar chances? No, because Hollywood is messy and has always been messy, and people get divorced and cheat all the time when they move up in fame. So it's never affected anybody's chances to win an Oscar, in my opinion, Jeff, or get nominated for one. Jeff?
Yeah, I did read it. It didn't really do much for me. I don't think it's really going to affect her chances. I don't think she's going to win. I mean, I just don't see the Academy giving Ariana Grande an Oscar, no matter how good or perfectly cast she is in that movie. Yeah, no, I don't see that happening. So, no, I don't think it will affect the chances.
Okay. No, guys, this was the last one. Just saw Anora days ago and loved it. The Three Stooges in the film were great. Do you all think Yuri has a chance to get an Oscar nom? Thanks. I wish he did, but I don't know if he'll sneak in there. Jeff, do you think he'll sneak in there? I thought he was great.
All I'll say about this
Okay.
is to watch FYC tomorrow when we delve into the supporting categories, because I've got a surprise for you.
There you go. There you go. All right. There you go. That's all the questions. That's all that we got going on. All the news stories. We got to get out of here. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us tonight. We appreciate it madly. Almost 800 of you hanging out for a majority of the show. As we wrap up, just remember to subscribe to the channel down below and hit that bell button. And Jeff, where can they subscribe to your newsletter to get more of your scoops and on social media?
TheInsnider.com, guys. I've got all kinds of good stuff, not just scoops. We had an interview with Jack Houston this week. I had a little piece on Mangione Monday, as it's become known in Hollywood circles when they announced 3 Luigi Mangione projects. So yeah, TheInsider.com. Thanks, Johnny Boy.
Did you watch him getting perp walk today? It was disgusting. It was disgusting.
Yeah, it's definitely they're going a little overboard. He's a terrorist. We need 30 people here for this guy.
He killed one fucking guy, man. People kill one guy all the time to get marched out like this.
Killed 2. They haven't fucking perp walked me.
One last thing. Buck Teeth Bandit says, "Hey guys, is there any truth to the Batman 2's rumored filming date? Frazier returning also. Thanks." I haven't heard anything. You heard anything?
You haven't heard anything?
Not about Frazier returning. No.
Frazier returning. May.
Yeah, that's what you got? Okay. May of 2025. Got it. All right. All right, that's it. We got to go. Follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, and Blue Sky, for those of you at Blue Sky, and Outlaw Nation on Twitch, and subscribe again, and leave your comments on everything, please. And remember, we are a podcast as well, so you can take us with you. You don't have to listen or look at our pretty faces. You can listen to us, download the Hot Mic podcast, wherever you download podcasts. All right, peace out, everybody. Take care. We'll talk to you next week with another brand new episode of the Hot Mic.